Hey, brother. All right, I figured it'd just be easier like this, pretty much, to do the last part of what I wanted to cover. This was something that was on the tip of my tongue when we last had like long, detailed conversations about some of this stuff. This was maybe like around turn of the year or late last year. I don't know how so much time flew by. Actually, it's amazing how quick time goes. And we didn't cover this stuff. And I mentioned a few times that I wanted to cover this. Good that finally we have the opportunity now to do that. I think the whole thing with my mom now being willing to come around to the proverbial negotiating table has also prompted me to want to cover some of this stuff. So it's funny, I'm actually hanging around the same park right now that I was when we last covered this stuff. This was regarding my mom's boyfriend. Now you'll realize I covered some of the more problematic interactions and things in history from when I was younger, but I didn't cover any of the sort of more recent stuff that was like after my teen years. Alright? Except a little bit about how when I moved out, the guy just changed the lock, and I come back a few days later, it's a different lock. I'm like, what the hell is that all about? And then my mom just shrugs her shoulders like it's not anything, like that's totally fine. So what? Nothing wrong. And I really push harder. I'm like, yeah, it is. That's kind of an insult. What the hell is that supposed to suggest? And then instead of apologizing or wearing down the correct way, she wears down the opposite way to then further like resist me by saying, oh no, that's okay that he did that because you weren't so good. See, the reframing, the gaslighting started a while ago, actually, further back than I even sometimes realize. Very not good. Anyway, let me gather my thoughts. Pause here briefly just to gather my thoughts here, to see where I'm going. Alright, I don't want this to drag on for hours and hours on end, like some of my previous stuff. I hope I use that time well, even though it was long, but I'd like to be very efficient and just get it out as straight as possible so that I don't have you out here for hours listening on, it could be possible to make it more clear and concise as well. So let me cover the major points. I'm thinking whether or not to go chronologically or fuck it, maybe I won't. I'll cover some more recent things, and then maybe at the end I'll cycle back around to mention some slightly older things. Why not? Okay. This now is the post Fennebutt era. Okay? This is post 2016. Obviously my whole life took on a completely different characteristic. Changing permanently. Me just being a regular guy living his life to like, oh my god, life-changing thing. Residual symptoms, extremely concerning, never before seen case, anything like this on the planet medically. Now my mom was real worried. Alright. When we started realizing after several months, through the remainder of 2016 I'd say, that there was still very severe lingering problems going into 2017, we started reassessing the nature of what I was going through, from being a short-term problem or a middle-term problem to now it's like, oh my god, this is really like pervasive or prolonged. This is staying unless something happens. That's very much more concerning, and my mom was very concerned, obviously. All right, now back around then, 2016, 2017, now she wasn't really so much antagonized against me. Also, you got to remember, around the same time, those false rape allegations came out against me, and my mom was aware of the fact that they were fake. She even spoke to Alex herself, the girl who now I'm speaking to directly. I told you years later, I'm telling her, yo, what you did was wrong. She's like, listen, okay, maybe, she admitted in writing, I fucking have it. She's like, I regret doing that. Yeah, bitch, what the fuck? You know, she like half took responsibility for it, but she half is still kind of hesitant to take even more responsibility than she already has. Regardless, that's not important. Anyway, so, you know, at this point, my mom was really on my side. She wasn't like, oh my God, is my son this bad guy with the... No, it's like, fuck that girl. I knew her. She came here. How dare she? So she became, I'd say, relatively speaking, probably, you know, besides when I said that about a year ago, me and my mom got pretty relatively close just for a few months, coincidentally when my mom's boyfriend was away, and also she had a better perspective and context about how, you know, she may have been wrong about things she's allowed and how she's been recently. When people realize, come to these realizations, they act better towards you. When they have remorse, they naturally come into atonement. They naturally kind of like let me make it up to you. You know, let me not just say I'm sorry. Let me, you know, what do they say? Repentance is saying I'm sorry. Atonement is acting sorry. It's important. You want to gain someone's trust back. But besides that period of a year ago, where that was the case, I'd say around 2017-ish was the only other time in our lives where my mom and I were kind of like close. We're like on the same page. Now, you know, oftentimes they say what brings people together, they use this in politics a lot too, is when you have a common enemy. This is like neocon theory, right? It's like a common enemy is what binds people together more strongly than common interests even, okay? So it's funny because when we have a common enemy, then me and my mom are really close. And conversely, when her and her boyfriend spin the slant, so to speak, so that they now have a common enemy, you get what I'm saying? What do you think that does? It makes it over there then instead so ironclad bound that it's almost like, fuck, morals would say that's not right, but it doesn't matter because the emotional juice is there. Doesn't matter. Two mammals, if they have a common enemy, boom, they're married to each other now practically, because yeah, fuck that guy. The bonding is formed from fuck that guy. That's not healthy, by the way. Now, obviously, you probably remember in one of the 6 compilation videos, I briefly had one of those guys that were speaking, like a male psychologist who used up a couple to a few minutes portion of that time on one of those videos, was mentioning just that. Remember, he was saying, I think he was in video like 3 or 4 or 5. He was saying, you know, what happens is that there's a common enemy factor, and that is what kind of corrupts people, because if they do that on you, you're being screwed extra in a way that's not merited, right? Well, I'll tell you what. So 2017, my mom's concerned, my son is sick, and he's an unfair victimized. Okay, my poor son, my poor son. She would come around every single day, be very supportive, very nice stuff, you know. And also she was upset, you know, my poor son, the victim of my brothers, my uncles, her brothers, you know, magic rituals, and he's doing satanic-like stuff and invoking entities with crazy long names from Tibet and all this other crazy shit. You wouldn't believe how nutty this stuff is unless you're literally there seeing how crazy it all is, you know. She saw all that stuff. She's like, stop doing that stuff in our home, and he kept doing it. So yeah, it's been a weird life since then, I'm telling you. Funny enough, all the things he was invoking kind of happened. It's so weird. That too is a whole long story in and of itself. But anyway, good. I've only used up 10 minutes. Thank goodness. If I talk fast, I use up less time and it's more efficient. All right. So, now where were we? So my mom's coming around. She's being friendly. And when we see that there's not a lot of progress, I'm going to a regular doctor, and for the first time in my life I'm experiencing what it is when a doctor doesn't have the answer. This is when my education really started, in the world of experience, finding how a lot of the world of modern medicine, I've heard it's a sham in a sense, didn't fully believe it experientially until it started happening to me. After they repeatedly just kind of shrugged their shoulders, don't have answers. Me and my mom, as two kind of religious people, started being like, oh my God, like this is a real issue and we don't have anybody else to turn to. We only have God. And it brings out its godly manifestation on this earth, whatever it is. If it looks troubling to us, what are we as kind of quasi-religious people at the least, inclined to do? Well, we want to engage in prayer. Now, if it's a serious issue, people's long-term health, borderline their lives, their well-being, their freedom, all this stuff is on the line. People come into prayer. People come into serious prayer. And my mom started coming down with the practice of engaging in what are called novenas, or in Spanish or other Latinized languages, novena, which is a 9-day chain of prayers. Right? It's some kind of, it's like superstitiously believed in a lot of those older Catholic traditions, that you make a chain of prayers every day lasting for 9 days in like a special, you know, ritualized order. And this is the stuff that I'm not so fully, you know, maybe it does work, I don't know. You know, morality's a little different. There's multiple prongs to religion, is the funny thing. One of it's the morality, but then the other one is this just pure ritual component. But hell, who knows what's up with anything really. Regardless, you know, we use the novena prayers as a vehicle or vessel to, you know, make petitioning to God or to the universe to like help out, make things better, etc., etc. We do one novena, we do another novena, and you know what? I was very warmed and touched, honestly, by how dedicated my own mom was. I felt like she had my back for the first time in life fully. I was like, wow, like that's great. That's great. By the way, you know, hint to everybody on this planet: if you ever do that to someone who's near you, you make a showing and extending of like, hey, I've got your back. Just solid. Yeah. You don't ever do anything to go back on that if you first go out on that branch and make that extension. That's the worst moral thing you could do. That in itself is a form of betrayal, so to speak. It really is. Don't ever do that. Well, so she started doing that. Me naively thinking, well, good, I've got my mom aligned with me properly, and then, you know, you rely on that support. And after a couple weeks, few weeks, we really just said, you know what, like, we've been praying just about every day. And me and her sat, and we were in prayer. You know, we made like a little, you know, lit some candles, made like a little, you know, quasi-altar, not really, but like, you know, yeah, you know, just at home, just to like really strongly, dedicatedly pray, like in the way that you would see super traditional, like, Chinese Buddhists do at home, in their homes, you know? And they have all this stuff. A lot of like hardcore Catholicized culture sort of tends to do something like that as well. So, you know, this is kind of deeper than we've ever gone in our lives towards like ritualized prayers, of course, to meet the demands of the situation as we felt. So me and her discussed, we said, well, look, I mean, if we want to like approach God and make petitions and prayers and ask for the greatest help of my whole life that this would be, we need to be serious. And we need to really show that we're serious and really energetically stay on it in a huge way. Between me and her, we discussed the possibility briefly, and we both eagerly agreed. We made a vow. We made a solemn vow before God, and this is serious stuff now. when you do this stuff, by the way. It's very serious, and when you do this kind of stuff, never go back on it. I think even making a regular vow in law or legally anywhere, if you make a vow that you sign and swear on, it becomes illegal. I think it's unlawful for you to break a vow. That's a law, dude. That's called making a false, it's connected with making false sworn statements. You make a vow and then you break a vow, you take on, I don't know if it's full criminal liability or just civil, but it's not for free. Like, the society's founded on various principles and for a reason. You made a vow, joint vow to each other, but really to God, that we were promised to come together at the same place at the same time every single day, 7 days a week, to come before that metaphorical, metaphysical, figurative altar of God, so to speak, and pray every day until we have received the breakthrough that we were praying for. I said, how long is it going to take? I don't know, however long it takes. We will pray every day, unless one of us fucking is dead or in a coma. We're committed by fucking God-level sworn vow to come here to my place in my living room and briefly 5-10 minute prayer ritual. That's it, 5-10 minutes a day. It's the same like you brush your teeth every day and you devote 5-10 minutes. You do it naturally. Every day is your brushing ritual. Same thing. Every day prayer ritual. We married it, so to speak. Okay? Now, I don't think I told you any of this stuff before, so it's very important and interesting. Only 17 minutes used too. Wonderful. So, we do this. And by the way, I've known my mom to be very relatively flaky on the spectrum of people. If I were to rank them in terms of their seriousness and the relative level of commitments that they then follow through in life, she's on the low end of that. I could say from a lifetime of experience. So when she was actually coming for 3rd week, 4th week, 5th week, and it was reliable, I was like, wow, this is like next level stuff. My mom, reliable? My mom following through with a promise? Well, of course, it was a serious one, made before God and all. So, unfortunately, all good things come to an end. And boy, what did I say about that vow, huh? Here's what it all boiled down to. And my mom came home at around the same time every day into her apartment. Of course, by then, obviously, we were already living separately. I was with my grandpa. And my uncle, who was originally staying with us there too, he was gone. Just me and my grandpa. And then mom upstairs with her boyfriend. One day, she comes home. She didn't ring my bell. It's been a few minutes. She's several minutes late. Because she came home late, it wasn't a lot of time before, in between when she would come home and when, you know, everybody would start getting tired. She came home after 9. Before we made it a practice for her to kind of come down as soon as she came home, so it's, you know, right after her journey, and then she dips in quick, and you know, we pray and boom, and then we can all just kind of go to sleep or whatever. All right, but she's nowhere. Okay, so I call on the phone, pick up, and she picks up. I'm like, hey mom, you know, we got our prayers. I don't see you around here, you know, just reminding her, come down, so we'll do this. She simply says, I don't really want to do it today. I'm like, what? I don't understand that. Yeah, I just don't want to. I don't have to do it. Why? And I was like, uh-oh. Like, that's the old Barbara I know. All right, it was only going to matter a few weeks before some form of a ridiculous thing happens. Now, mind you, a regular thing in life is not ridiculous on its face. If you were doing something, but then you want to take a break for yourself, there's not a problem in a regular sense. The problem here is twofold. Number one, it's connected to her son's extremely, it's connected to a situation regarding her son's life and health in a serious way, where she, you know, knew, like, oh my God, we're like praying for your health, and like, you know, obviously it's kind of an insult to me if someone signals to you that they care about you so much that they're there for you and they're going to align with you, and then later go back on that and then pull out a rug from under you and go, and they essentially signal, or by gesture, towards you something completely different. They signal, oh, you think I was dedicated to caring about, you know, how we're supporting the matter or anything regarding you? I'll just overlook that if I want to, unilaterally. I don't really have to follow up with my commitments about when they were regards to you. All right, so that's the insult. When it's about something important, that is an insult. You see? Like, you know, imagine some little girl has cancer or something, and then, you know, you're some relative or neighbor, close friend. Oh my God, she, you know, the cancer that you know, turned in her brain. Now she can't even, you know, move well or clean right. Oh, let me come help her clean or something. I'll be here for you, Sally. We'll help you clean, Sally. And then, no problem. I've got your back from now on. I've got your back from now on. See, that means indefinitely, so to speak. All right, for a protracted period of time. I'm here for you. And then imagine 3 weeks later, it's like there was some reliance formed on the representation you made. At law, there's even a cause of action for this. It's called, detrimental reliance, where someone relied on something you said to their detriment. Now, if it's a legal monetary detriment, you could sue over that. But there's moral detriment too. Like, I counted on you and you made a compact with me, and then you signal that you can just disrupt it whenever you want. So one would think that if you were to do something like that, it would be for a damn good reason. Like, listen, I'm so sorry. I know it should sound like this. Hey, I'm so sorry. I know we were promised to do this every day, and we're really serious. I don't mean to offend you. Something really came up. It's very important, so I have to deal with it, and I hope you understand. Come on, you know me. I'm like, all right, cool. You know, we'll pray for forgiveness if God takes it seriously, and, you know, we believe that. And we made a vow, and then you break it. I don't think he likes that. I think somewhere in multiple places in the Bible, he said, hey, never break a vow that you make to the Lord, because he will not. The price for that will be big. Whoever does that, the price will be taken from you in your life in a way that it will hurt you, will cost you to have done that. Very, very funny. Because that was the last day of a semblance of normalcy between my mom and I. For 5-6 years now, still unrepaired. God's promises are real, always kept. That exactly turned into, because what ends up happening right afterwards, you'll hear the story. I'm actually looking back, I'm like, that's terrifying. That's exactly right. The day that we broke the God's vow was the day that it's like a lightning bolt ripped apart the whole family. He doesn't fuck around. Stupid woman. Don't fucking break a vow you make to your fucking God, you dumb fucking nuthead. Hurt everybody around you because you don't know what the fuck, how to take your shit seriously. Huh? That's fucking terrifying. Fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, as is written. Oh my God. Oh, let me just get back to the substantive issues here. Offense number one is that it's an insult to me, regardless of whether or not we were sworn before God, so to speak, by vow. The second matter is you're also disrespecting my God, which I don't like either, because that's the same God I vowed to as well. And you see, so and I'm very surprised, because in a lot of ways I considered her to be more religious than me. Traditionally she was. I'd only say that that relative factor became inverted relatively recently in life, because I started realizing she's kind of just a fake who goes along with the motions, while me, and especially in recent times more and more, have really gone into the deep authentic substance of it and found really it's miraculous. I love it. I feel like I live it in my life chronically, and I hold it in my heart the closest. So I tell her on the phone, I remind her responsibly, I say, okay, well that's not totally cool, because there's two problems with that at least. Number one is that it's kind of an insult to me. What kind of mom are you if you don't have a good reason? Number one. But number two, you swore before God about this shit. This is a vowed thing you're about to break. You definitely can't do that, even if you could diss your son in a little way. That's not the second part probably should be a lot more scary to you than the first part. I said this on the phone in my own much shortened way, but I obviously referred. I'm like, this and this and that. So come on, what the hell? Don't be dumb. You owe and you promised. I'm also trying to get a reason as to what the hell's going on. I shouldn't say anything. She's just like, no, I just don't want to. No want to. I don't understand. No, I'm saying that the second time, but she just insists. So what the hell can I do? I was upset on the phone, but I'm like, that's not right. That's really messed up. Fact. No one reasonably would deny that. Because it's irresponsible and inconsiderate and immoral and reckless. There's various levels of liability there that she takes on. Well, the phone call ends. Not in a dramatic way, overly dramatic, but just like that's not right, but like, the hell am I gonna do? Well, I'm gonna do prayers myself. So I told her I'll just do prayers here myself, probably, if you don't come. But I said before I got off the phone, I'm like, I think let me call you back, or let me just reach out to you in a few minutes and try again, just to make sure you're really serious about not coming. And I'm still giving you an opportunity and encouraging you to change your mind very soon and come down here for 5 minutes to do this. It's the right thing. Left on that. I recall that's exactly the note we left on. Then I hung up. I was expecting to make one more attempt to kind of get her attention, to like try her again, maybe call 5-10 minutes later like, hey, you really not coming down, or what's the matter? And then see from there, and if not, then I'd shrug my shoulders and say whatever. Okay. So a few minutes goes by. I set up the whole novena thing and the prayer booklet and all that, and she's still not at my door. So I'm like, that's nuts. She must really be serious. So I'm thinking, all right, let me reach out one more time towards her to prompt her. If she doesn't come, then that's not on my shoulders anymore. I acted in good faith to repeatedly petition her, and if she doesn't, then it's out of my responsibility after 2 to 3 attempts to get to her mind to work. Okay, so we're gonna do the last one here. Now, to set up the context for what's about to happen. Obviously she lives right above me, okay? When she lives above me, we share a roof. My ceiling is her floor, okay? What we used to do is a little bit of a throwback to something that my grandpa used to do when he was the primary tenant there when my grandma was still alive. I was growing up as a kid upstairs in 60. And but my grandpa used to come to this pipe. It's a big heat pipe. It runs through every bathroom straight up through 6 floors, okay? He used to have this thing when I was a kid. because he knew obviously I'm right upstairs. The pipe runs through a little hole that's like cut out to just be barely, it's the circumference of the pipe, but it's a solid pipe it runs through. It's a hole where technically you can kind of hear the person who's on the lower floor, upper floor through the hole. Like you can have a conversation through each other's bathrooms through the hole. It's like kind of crazy. So my grandpa used to come up to the pipe, and he would take out his toothbrush, like some kind of dinging, knocking, ringing tool, and he'd go bing, 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 bing on the iron pipe, which would resonate bing, 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 bing up in my apartment. And probably it was resonating the lower floors too, but he didn't care. And he would do this bing, bing, bing. He'd do this every morning practically. It would be like his little wake-up call to me. Like, to me, I'm upstairs, you know. And I'd run over because I'd hear it. I'm home, and I'd be like, "Hey, Jajush, hey, Jaja," and he'd be like, "Hi, hello, hi, how are you?" You know, in Polish, "Wszystko dobrze, everything is good, everything is okay." "Yeah, yeah, Grandpa, okay." He'd go ding, 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 ding again, and I'd take out my toothbrush. "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and I'd do the same back. Bing, 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 bing. He'd be like, "Yeah, ding, 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 ding." You know, we'd like ring to each other. My whole life it was like that. It's so funny, you know. Well, so funny enough now, when I ended up moving back to that building from Astoria and coming into 5D, what ended up also developing naturally over time was a sort of similar kind of communication between my mom and I. It wouldn't be that particular metal pipe that we would use that runs through the bathroom. No. Rather, if I felt like, you know, figuratively speaking, you know, dinging and ringing up to get my mom's attention in a prompter way that's quicker than even going and ringing up to get a phone call going. Had a broomstick. Got the ceiling. No. Come up to the ceiling. Buck, 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 buck. And in one particular corner, like by the hallway across from the kitchen, or those hallways in the rooms in the open space that intersects there, just go buck, 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 buck. My mom would hear that on the ground, and also she'd either knock back or otherwise just hear it, and she'd come down to my door, and within about 20 seconds she's at my door, you know. So it's like an instant summoner. We started using this naturally and developed by precedence some kind of quasi-established routine or semi-routine where we started using this, relying on this. Mostly me. I'm the one doing the dinging and the knocking with the very light plastic rod to tap up on the thing, right? Now, and my use of this, of course, was reasonable. It wouldn't. It's not like an attack or like obnoxious noise, but it's like buck, 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 like, you know, call to Barbara, you know. Oh, okay. And, you know, boom, you come down. So it's kind of a way to call somebody down. All right. So, as I said, now on the particular day where she unjustifiably and indefensibly, and not even proffering a reason, which is also an insult. I'm like, you know, at least what the hell is this? Nothing is more valuable than the vows you make with God to pray for your son's life. You know, what? Crazy? Hell, I'd fucking... You fucking show that to anybody in your life after you make that fucking kind of promise or thing to your own son? You should ritualistically kill yourself. Fucking out of shame. Fucking idiot woman. So anyway, I'm thinking, like, I could call her again and have a whole nother conversation with her. I figure, I say, what are my options? I could call and go through a whole nother stressful conversation, might end up getting into an argument. I don't know. Instead of that, I think, all right, well, I've been knocking. We've been using the knock thing. The knock is more, there's less of a potential to have a disturbance, but it's also clear to the point, and also provides less of an opportunity for my mom to like negate it without having to actively then reach out to me and try to explain herself. So in a responsible way, I'm like thinking like, let me just give her the knock. I take the broomstick and do the same knock, like pick, 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 like reminder, I'm here and I'm waiting. So either she's gonna come or she's gonna have to then call and explain herself. You don't leave a knock hanging unanswered, obviously. I said, good. That's the best way, most kind of tacit, subtle, but I guess you know, it just made sense. And if nothing came of it, then obviously then nothing came of it. That's on her. I'm done at that point. I had one conversation with her, and instead of a second conversation, I just gave the knock. All right. This is what happens as a result of that consideration. See? Anytime you throw pearls before swine, and they end up being swine, in fact, or you didn't know, you have the ugliness that comes from you having even ever thought to begin with that these apparent swine now were even worth anything from the beginning. Okay? In response to the taps to signal for her acknowledgement to come down or whatever, obviously an expectation of the reasonable thing which we've identified, I then hear multiple sets of footsteps all starting to bustle and rustle upstairs. Now this tells me, and that's very interesting. Already I could tell kind of along what lines this is developing. But weirdly enough, you would never think it would go like this. And too bad I don't have you on a phone conversation live. You just go ahead and feel for yourself your reaction. I won't get to hear it or see it live now through time. But I'll guess what it is. Might be as close to fucking the what the hell you gave me when that you gave me organically over the phone when I told you about how my mom was talking to me over the phone in that October 9th situation from last year. Because here's what happens. All of a sudden I hear, back then before my eardrums became, oh, here's another interesting thing. Right? So before all that cocaine damage in late 2017, one of the things that happened is that my eardrums became like permanently damaged from that. Now, the Phenibut though upregulated the Fasirastam and all that, the GABA B, all that becomes so upregulated that even with the eardrum damage I've had for a few years now, because they're like crystallized, my eardrums are crystallized with cocaine. So, and they're fucking ripped up too, real weird. But the nerves are still so upregulated that it almost doesn't even matter. I still have superhuman hearing even with the damage. I've told you the stories. I demonstrate that even to my mom about a year ago. She was like, how the hell can you hear me whispering from 2 rooms away all the way around in the bathroom and the doors, you know, mostly closed and you're in the other? I'm like, yeah, now you understand what upregulation of the nervous system is? I fucking hear, see, smell everything and perceive everything informationally from the broadcasts that you people emanate. Anything organic. If it's fruit, I feel if it's organic or not organic. What chemical it is, what metabolites you have. If you're carrying a bag of cocaine on you, I'll smell it from 20 feet away. It's not a joke. No one recorded me, yet in that way I'm the most epic human being that's ever lived. Under the radar of anyone who will ever certify that or make a big, good documentary about it. That'll just be our own thing. The will of God. It's just how it turned out. What are you gonna do? Alright, I'm losing those powers now, dude. Even today I'm walking around. Very strangely, I'm like noticing I'm smelling people's pheromones way less than ever before. Like I'm blinded, but in the nose. So nuts. Everybody's information was released through their electromagnetic broadcast and the smell. The animals smell each other, you know all about the one you're smelling. Same thing here, just humans mostly had that lost. I regained it through the nervous system upregulation. And even that's going away. All while I'm having more pain than ever before. My teeth, which have been cracked, but of course I never feel the pain, now have chronic pain nearly for the first time ever. But things are starting to reset, as we've taken note of. Now, but regardless, one thing that damage led to is that as amazing as my hearing still has been recently, I can't hear anymore if someone's very quietly walking down the stairs outside in the hallway. All right? Before the cocaine thing happened, dude, I could be in my living room in the bed with my eyes closed, half asleep, and in a weird way, for those first few years, all of my sleep was only half sleep, because I always would perceive chronically 24/7 what was going on around me. Nuts. Yeah, not a joke. I would hear very clearly if my mom would exit her apartment and then begin to walk down the stairs instead of going to the elevator to go outside, let's say. She's coming to me, she'd go down the stairs. I would be able to hear each quiet footstep, and she tries to be as quiet as possible based on her instinct to just move quietly through the hallway. I could hear her moving down the stairs through the closed apartment door, way in my apartment, in my living room when I'm in bed, half sleeping. Okay? So figure that out. Well, so this ties around in this way. So therefore, I could hear very clearly while I'm awake standing there in the apartment. There's not just one set of footsteps, it's two. This was the first substantive knock to my dignity that I've experienced in the whole time, probably since between me and my mom and family. Because here's the frame. I'm obviously doing something reasonable. And whether or not you could call it fair or not fair is definitely not unreasonable. I didn't do anything wrong. But evil people will try to spin so that they will spin the thing on you to frame it as if you, the opposite person, are the evil person or the wrong one or the bad one. So to reinforce her frame, what did she do? Oh, I'm gonna get my boyfriend to come down here, and we're gonna. I was still in my late 20s then. Grown man in his late 20s. I'm gonna get my boyfriend to what? What the fuck exactly? Even to talk to me about anything would be an insult. And then even if it was like a respectful conversation, just the fact that you even think you can come here to fucking talk to me as if I did something wrong is a fucking insult. Even worse than that would be if you were to dream to do such a thing in a way that's purely arrogant and disrespectful on its face. The semblance of having respect would still be an insult. You shouldn't even fucking be here. So they come up to the door. Obviously they had their own keys then, because they were involved with me and Grandpa, and we were all one big club sort of, right? So they don't, again, this is another aspect of the arrogance. Knowing I'm home, they don't like, stand there and buzz the door the way you think you instinctively would if you're coming to see someone about something. It's they're the ones living there strictly, and you're not. This is more of the complete and total disregard for rights. Coming in and just opening the door, like rape again, basically. Just like, I don't care, it's a signal, I don't care that you may not want any part of, what we have here. I don't have to fucking knock and be invited. I will just rocket blast through the Iron Dome and blow you up if I want. It's to signal that kind of disrespect to a person. You understand? I'll just send a nuclear bomb here anytime I wish. See? Yeah. Psychopathy. Narcissism. all cluster B type issues that all are very interconnected and resemble each other in the core thread way. So they both just launch in and come in. Now obviously here's where the rubber's gonna hit the road. I see her, first of all, she's at fault because she's trying to make a big thing about it. So you're already, that's insult number 3 today. Number 1 and number 2 was on the phone about how you're not doing the right thing in terms of keeping your word to God and me and coming down. But then when I correctly follow up, which was my moral responsibility to follow up on that at least once more, to like confirm, like, are you really sure you're not changing your mind? Okay, I tried twice. As they say, the postman always rings twice. It's a responsibility in life. Make sure they're not out of their minds, you know. Ask them again just to make sure. Nothing wrong with that. Instead, now they're trying to frame it. So I'm like, all right, Mom, you're disqualified from any respect now. You just lost it all, I'm thinking in my mind. But this guy too, this fucking idiot. Let's compare his conduct to what a reasonable man in the position of being in his shoes would do. You're a boyfriend of this woman and you have the kind of weird history and we're not fully on the same terms. What's the unwritten rule between men? All right, and this is something that Dr. Emerson Eggerichs in our at least 1 or 2 of our videos touched upon briefly. I included some of his work, the seminar talks, in those videos, one of those middle set videos, where he's saying, look, you know, between guys, what's the deal like? You can't just, guys know it's guy code. You can't just go in and fucking start being super confrontive to people's face, because you're gonna end up getting killed. Respect is a big deal. It's owed both ways. So because of that, it's hardwired into our evolution. 2 men will always be extra respectful of each other's space. And if there's a potential issue, then the instinct will be to show that, like, well, all right, man, well, you know, I gotta get out of here. We gotta get out of here. Like, we gotta back up now and take it easy, Otherwise, it's gonna go crazy. We gotta, you know, I'm so angry. I'm gonna walk over there. You understand? That's the safety net that's hardwired into our DNA. Because if you skip that step, we will rip each other's throats out on the spot. But everybody loses. There's no winners there. So, obviously, if you're a normal person, those are the lines along which you operate. When you're a dude, number 1, and you're upstairs and your son is, your girlfriend's son is, you know, asking about, you know, having this person come down to follow through with an obligation that they are bound to by oath, by word, by vow, by promise. Either way. And if she doesn't want to, and he's not, he asks once more through the knock to get a knock acknowledgement. Yeah, and what has he done wrong? Number 1. And number 2, when your girlfriend then comes up to you to try to recruit you into participating in a fucking some kind of battle, you have 2 brain cells at least in your head that are connected to each other and work and are integrated. You would think, I don't know if I want to get involved. That doesn't help anybody. I would get involved if I had no other choice. I don't think this has arisen to that level yet. I think I'm not going to get into a fucking problem with a grown man if I value anything about having harmonious relationship with my girlfriend's fucking flesh and blood son. But as I suggested in the videos again, it's not just her who has narcissism. These narcissistic / psychopathic / cluster B type personalities often tend to attract one another. Isn't that the case? And as the various portions of the videos have suggested, it's true. And based on the conduct and what you see, it definitely stands out for what happened once they both came in. Look at the guy. I'm kind of like half puzzled, like what the hell is he doing here? But I don't, you know, say anything at him. I'm just watching to see, well, what are they going to do? What are they going to say? How are they going to start this? I'm very intrigued. I'm like, you people are, metaphorically speaking, it's like they're drunk and they think they're going to drive straight. They're not driving straight, but I'm like watching, like, are you really going to drive now? Are you really going to risk running people over? Like, let me just watch and see, like, what, how stupid are you people? I just kind of watch. They're coming in, like, what are they going to do? Boyfriend comes up to me. I'm thinking, how, I don't know how the hell he could try the most fucking, you know, respectful, softest way. I would still take it like, you out of place, idiot. But I'm standing there going, well, let's see how tactful you think he could be, and how fucking, how soft is his stupid attempt at a diplomatic spin gonna be here. All right, you see my question and how I'm framing it? Yeah, you know what he does? I'm reminded of one of the 48 Laws of Power from Robert Greene's book. Something I think almost every man should listen to it. A lot of people I know, guys, have listened to it. Kind of like a weird sort of, you know, unwritten curriculum that almost every guy goes. It's like a cult-like following, that book. It's super widely, you know, looked at, because how can you deny a book with that kind of cover, right, or that kind of title? And the content of the book is just as good as the title. It's a very good book. One of the legendary books of the last couple decades, few decades, and the author's sort of a legend himself. I'm reminded of one of the lessons from that book. Okay, now this book isn't fully moral. Some of the laws happen to align with morality, but some of them are kind of distinctly against morality. They're about just how to get power for the sake of power and disregard any other constraints. What techniques or methods would you use? Well, to summarize what he ended up saying, really, this lesson here is the one that comes to mind.
Law 28. Enter action with boldness. Judgment. If you are unsure of a course of action, do not attempt it. Your doubts and hesitations will infect your execution. Timidity is dangerous. Better to enter with boldness. Any mistakes you commit through audacity are easily corrected with more audacity. Boldness and hesitation. A brief psychological comparison. Boldness and hesitation elicit very different psychological responses in their targets. Hesitation puts obstacles in your path. Boldness eliminates them. Once you understand this, you will find it essential to overcome your natural timidity and practice the art of audacity. The following are among the most pronounced psychological effects of boldness and timidity. The bolder the lie, the better. We all have weaknesses, and our efforts are never perfect. But entering action with boldness has the magical effect of hiding our deficiencies. Con artists know that the bolder the lie, the more convincing it becomes. The sheer audacity of the story makes it more credible, distracting attention from its inconsistencies. When putting together a con, or entering any kind of negotiation, go further than you planned. Ask for the moon, and you will be surprised how often you get it. Boldness strikes fear. Fear creates authority.
Yeah, absolutely fucking nuts. Sick, right? You know? what did he say? The way to correct the mistakes of your initial audacity, just correct it with more audacity. That's fucking unbelievable. Right? Now, honestly, I see, I first heard and learned this stuff when I was in my early 20s. A whole bunch of us were like fucking trading these audios, CDs, and listening to all this stuff. It's kind of true, but there's places in which it could be true and used that's still relatively moral, and then places where you could use that only if you are completely in disregard to doing what's right and you're just blatantly offensive with the audacity that you're using because it's misapplied for the situation. So in that respect, it's a win-lose because you sort of get a short-term Pyrrhic victory, but anything that damages the fundamental structures of things around you is not a long-term victory if you're part of the same structure set in that way. So I'd say that one of the first kind of bigger shocks in my life, I had a number of them, and this guy was not my friend already, but let me paint you a picture real quick just to help you, brother, understand what context this is happening in. All right, because here's the extra insult that's coming now from this situation, from what he's about to say. It's crazy audacity. I told you that me and him weren't on the speaking terms for a long time, right? Well, I'm going to update you. Even after the changing of the locks, when I finally moved out and I'm in Astoria, started living my own life a little bit, I'll tell you the truth. When I was out there, and probably I was, in a sense, kind of the most grown in one aspect than I would ever be in my life. Although in different ways, I'm more grown now, along certain other lines. It's always a trade-off, I guess. I made a decision. I was far enough away from my folks, quote unquote, my mom and boyfriend of hers, that even though we were having a hard time while we were living together, this is the first time in my life I was out of being in the same residence as him. Several months passed, a year plus. I'd say, I'd still get invited for holiday meals, Easter or Christmas and stuff. I made what could be considered probably one of the most gracious moves, and I think also morally right moves that I would ever really make in my life. I'm even surprised that I did this. Today, I would not have done this because back then I thought it would be a virtue to do what I decided to do, which I'm about to tell you. Now, in hindsight, I see it's not. I understand that clearly as I bring this to mind. So, whose fault was it? Actually mine, for being too nice to him eventually one day. Because Christ said, don't cast pearls before swine. Piggy, piggy, don't do it. Because they'll trample on them before they turn and then run you through next too. Back before I had any idea of what the hell correct living was, I had these rough, naive frameworks of what the, disconnected, not rigidified, non-contextually correct ideas of how you're supposed to do things. Most people have that today. That's why I'm here to wake everybody up in this world now. So what I thought was the right thing to do is, I moved out now. It's been a few months. You know what? Let me just forgive him for free and magically act like there's no problem and everything's fine again and I'm totally great. And I thought that the goodness of that would be like, well, if I treat him well, it'd be like I'm mature because I'm just letting the bad things go, right? And just pretending like they're not bad anymore, that nothing is in effect anymore from that. That's the illusion. But if you're even smarter than that, you realize that the original plan, which is hold the motherfucker to account, is actually still the most correct one in objective reality. I gave him a free forgiveness. I'll come around like a year later to Christmas or an Easter. Normally I would just be very cold to the guy because it was established. So for years we were like not talking. I'd hug my mom, shake her hand, give her a kiss on the cheek. Hello, happy holiday for this or that. Very nice. I'd see him there, and I just gave him the grace of like, hey man, how are you, dude? It's been a long time. You know, I made it out in the world a little bit. All right, you know what? Here we are. It's, you know, quasi-family, sort of. Not really. It seems like yesterday that the fucker came around 20 years ago. And Anthony, as I told you on the phone months ago when I told you the original story, I'm still waiting for those 2 weeks to be up. You remember, all right? The guy moved in originally. I didn't like him then. I told my mom, yo, what the hell is this? She was like, oh, no, in 2 weeks he will be gone. He's just here for 2 weeks to keep his stuff temporarily while he transitions from having sold his place to get a lot of money. Those 2 weeks never fucking came. It's like 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Yeah, sure. 2 weeks turned into 2 years. Fucking scam artists, bro. Bolder the lie, the fucking more you believe it. So this is the context under which we're operating. I actually unilaterally decided to sweep all the bullshit that I held him responsible for, swept it under the rug. I think now would be a perfect time. I know we're on the big cliffhanger of what the hell did he say to you, John, when he came down into the apartment with your mom after she didn't come down to pray the novena. This is crazy. I'm like, yeah, I know. Just listen. For the year and a half prior now, every time I saw the guy, which was not that often, but I went out of my way to give him an even better interaction than he deserved. What reason for? Because naive life, instead of holding to the principle, which is the true master principle here of hold people to account, don't give them free shit that they're not earning. You have to earn it to receive it. There's such a thing as grace that's merited, but grace that's deserved is the grace that's merited. You see, there's no true free lunch in life. But naively, I held that I was experimenting with what the fuck right and wrong still is. So I thought it was right to just be good. Because the better relationship for the sake of a better relationship, right? Because naively, one thinks, oh, if you're more harmonized, it's always better, and that's good. And if you're not harmonized, it's always bad. No, no, no. Wrongdoers, when they're wrongdoers and then they don't repent, it's good to cut them off and to keep them cut off. And it's bad to let them be around and treat them like your pal when they have done wrong against you and not fixed it. That's stupid. Always. So, I got an ad here, or whatever. Anyway. So I spent like my consideration and time to like let the guy have his fucking easy out. So also I could actually, the best part of what I did was actually to frame for him. I was being the bigger man in a sense, because well, number one, all right, so he's the older guy, so all right, well, let me be nicer to him. But number two, it's like, my God, I'm almost having to like teach him the lesson of the situation, which is like, I have to show him like monkey see, monkey do, like, hey, stupid, you're supposed to value and cherish the friendship slash quasi-familial relationship that would and should properly exist between someone in your position and someone in mine. If my mom's your girlfriend, I'm her son, and we're all living in a house together, you moron, you're supposed to protect that like fucking, like an eggshell. Not recklessly disregard it, which is the whole pattern that I've told you about, like how he's been towards me since day one. Which is the ugliness and the thing that caused all the original resentment, which I'm right about. Because nothing merits someone in his position being mean to the kid of the girl who you're with. It doesn't fit. Yeah? So, you know, I gave him the different framing of like, well, look, I'm showing you that now that I'm slightly older than I was before as a, you know, teen and college kid, that like, you know, it's worth to protect it. And if it was never established, then hell, you know, let's be fucking decently cordial to each other. And then once you do that enough times, one would think, you know, both people are at least quasi invested in not just allowing that to spontaneously blow up and rip apart for no reason. You see? If two neighbors are friends, you don't just shit on each other outright willingly, like you run to go shit on the guy. That's a transgression against the most fundamental decency we have as people. But there's people out there who are like this. They're just not human beings. There is no decency. The moral fiber does not run in them. So, Anthony, you would think, all right, well, so now I see, you've been kind of nicer with this guy, sort of interacting nicer and getting along very slightly, still at arm's length, but, oh, okay. So then, right, if he is petitioned by your selfish mom in that situation that night to suddenly run down into your damn apartment and barge in, well, on account of the fact that he's got a framework of relative, you know, the respectability thing has been given, and of course, what? It's like I would show, like, look, man, I'll show you respect, so I'm assuming I'm going to get some respect back in this world, right? Build the stock of credit of that respect, which accrues in the background as a cushion for, you know, so when things would go wrong or shit's about to hit the fan, it cushions, and there's grace there from which you can borrow from that credit there. Ha ha. Narcissists, I told you they are. First thing he does when he barges in, I look at his demeanor. To my naive surprise then, but right there confirmed the kind of person he is. That was the last time in our lives I ever had any tiny piece of respect for him whatsoever, because in one immediate fell swoop, he lost it. Comes up to me and he just says in Polish, "You're gay." And then I'm looking at him like, what the fuck kind of insult is that even to start with? Moreover, it's inapplicable. So I didn't even get offended like, oh, how dare you call me gay? I'm not gay, man. No, I'm like, just looking at him like, what? What the fuck is even going on here? The hell is this? Am I on candid camera? Is this a game show? What the fuck is this? A prank? What? I look at him like quizzically, like, huh? And again, he's like, yeah, you're gay. You're a faggot. All right, issue number one is that doesn't make sense. Regardless, it's not whether it makes sense or not. It's how he's choosing to talk to you. This is what he wants to do. I simply turn to my mom to look to see. So obviously this is happening in front of her. Now, if you're the reasonable mom in that position, assuming you didn't go say, hey, go call my son names to really fucking piss him off, because we got to show him we hate him when he's sick. I'm supposed to be supporting him. Actually have no regard for that at all and just shit on him. Yeah. See, narcissism. Only a disregard for the dignity of other human beings can allow for courses of conduct like this to be permitted and then unchecked. I turn to her simply to like look at what her reaction is. Now, if you're a normal woman in that situation, what do? That's your son that man's talking to. Now, a lot of times we turn to the ones we care about in our lives, like, oh, help me with this. Oh, I don't like this. The woman spin begins. Oh, do that. Stop that. That's bad. Stop that. You know, and then the oaf, if your boyfriend is oaf type, pig-headed type, and not like, you know, cogito logica mind of logic and reason and morality, then you have like a bore for a boyfriend. All you know how to do is see red and hurt the thing that the woman wants me to hurt for her. You see what I'm saying? Uh-oh, it's all bad. It's all narcissism, cluster B, bad. Too much dopamine, not enough GABA. There's your imbalance. And probably not enough serotonin either. I identify these types like immediately. Here's the deal. Looked at my mom. Obviously, if she doesn't support it, she would immediately jump in. Any reasonable woman, well, obviously that man just went too far, way farther than one in the woman's position would have intended. Never in a million years is it okay to signal or support and do anything other than disavow people who are aligned with you to go insult your son in any way imaginable. So when that happens, the immediate instinct of someone who's good, fundamentally at heart, is they'd stop it, they'd say, what the hell are you doing? All right, don't talk to my son like that. That's enough. Bob, or, you know, Dan, or in this case, Marek, whatever the fuck, whoever the name would be, doesn't matter. All right, just, can't you guys just talk nice, or, oh, we just want to talk about what happened, and obviously I have my problem too. I'd be like, yeah, I want to talk too. Why are you making a problem about coming? You don't even have a good reason. That's an insult to me. And you're here, instead of explaining yourself or petitioning nicely to me, treating me with respect and dignity, you treat me like I'm some kind of problem person. For what? Because I did what? Because I insisted or asked for you to turn your attention onto the matter that you yourself promised to? That's not me being immoral. That's me being moral. You're immoral. Obviously, that's my position. That's correct. Well, here's her last chance. I look towards her to see her, like, kind of looking at her like with the expectation of like, yeah, this is where you jump on him now and tell him to stop being a dick, right? Nope. She just stands there and blankly looks on like, this is fine. As if to signal. This course of conduct from him to my grown son, that's acceptable. That's fine. Course of treatment for a son of mine. That's fine. That's how, you see, that's the real scam here. We're programming him. Yes, your life is about loving to get shit on as I abuse you with compiling shit on your head anytime I want to. My shit, other people's shit who I order to shit on you too for me. Ha ha ha, power. Get it? That's the sickness. So immediately I see two transgressions of the most fundamental type happen in front of me. Number one, this guy, but I really couldn't give a shit about this guy. But my mother is the real fucking problem. I turn to her, and by remaining silent, she endorsed it completely. All right. Well, for sure, things would never be the same again. I look back at him, now twice he's fucking says some ridiculous shit. I'm like, dude, I'm not even literally gay. What the fuck does that even mean? Why would you even say that to me, I say? Doesn't even fucking make sense. I looked at him and I said, you're gay. And obviously that also makes no sense. So what I was signaling to him is how stupid it is to say something to me that's so off the mark. So I'll say that back to him. I don't think he's gay. I'm showing him how dumb it is to fucking say that to someone. I said it back, like, yeah, like, you're gay. I didn't even say it with a straight face. And I like smirked at the end, like, because I couldn't hold a straight face. That accusation couldn't pass the laugh test. And I let him know it. That's how stupid that is, and how stupid you're doing too, fucking idiot, as if to signal that to him clearly. That's your hint that, which you just did, makes no fucking sense, which is the further hint that you should probably be slowing your roll, because you're in my space where I live. Yeah. Let's compare to reasonable standard. If you're someone in this position and finally that's what's going on, and then you say some dumb shit and then that's the response you get, reasonable person at any point and every point along that course of conduct, you should be thinking, should I be slowing my roll? Oh, maybe. Oh, all right, let me reevaluate. Wait, am I, was this kid of hers nice to me for like a year and a half? Oh, like, so do I care to show that I value in a protective way that relationship? I maybe not shitting all over his dignity by just coming in and saying whatever I want like a fucking mindless moron? Oh, nah, just keep fucking doing it. So he keeps fucking cursing at me and saying disrespect to me. So at that point, I'm like, all right, this is fucking fucked up and stupid. Fuck this stupid shit. Get the hell out of here. Fucking, I was very upset. But I didn't escalate with them. I was just like visibly disappointed with them for having, how do you even fucking dream to do that? And boy, and what do you think's gonna happen to my mom now? As if I'm not gonna hold her to account. Like, this guy's an idiot because in the moral sense, well, you're making her pay for that. Because insofar as she just tacitly allows it, now she's gonna be under the weight of having dared allow such a course of conduct to be ever effectuated against her own son. How the hell do you think my relationship with her is going to be? But see, his selfish thing is, I don't care if you're not good with your mom. It's even better for me. If we have a common enemy, he loves it. His relationship will strengthen with her. You see the issue? So his motivation's completely twisted. He's not moral. And guess what? No surprise. A couple times it's come up. I'd ask my mom, and once later in life, even after, I'd ask him, I'm like, yo, you religious? You believe in God? Funny thing, as religious as my mom was, she made a very bad choice. One that would, in that way, also harm her. You can't get mixed up with people when they share radically different value sets. Yo, this guy is not a God-oriented person at all, in the least. I mean, like zero. Zero. When you don't have that, Anthony, you're a remarkable exception, actually. But you're a rare one, too. And actually, I've seen a lot of Christians and other types who are terrible people, actually. But there's still a light tendency that, you know, there's some kind of orientation around a sense of responsibility that you keep when you have a sense of morality instilled through that particular avenue. And there's multiple avenues. This guy doesn't have morality. His only God is what makes him feel good. Do you see what I'm saying? So if he feels good, plus he's a narcissistic psychopathic type cluster B, obviously he is, similar to my mom. What's his instinct going to be if it's not checked by a moral programming that he's stayed glued to his whole life? Nothing. He's a psycho dictator for himself, and he only looks out for number one. Why my mom would pick someone like that? Oh, right, I remember why. I already told you. It's because he has a house, he sold some money, and he drives a car, so he can drive me places. It's all about using people and then overlooking their flaws because you sold out to the benefit because you love things instead of loving morality and God. I already talked about that aspect a lot before. I was giving you a lot of the backstory. Okay? So, my relationship with this fucking woman has never been the same since. That was the last day of a decent experience of family life. It was never good. It was never great. That was the closest it ever became to being like, meh, satisfactory enough that it's not completely falling apart. It's barely holding together because nothing is super actively wrong. That's it. After that day, everything was a nightmare from then on out. Next days, I'm obviously asking my mom, what the fucking hell was that? To get a damn accounting and responsibility. First of all, I'm like, first of all, you didn't disavow what the hell he said in front of me. You endorse it? She said, oh no, I don't think it's so good that he said that to you. I'm like, if you don't think it was so good he said that to me, why don't you fucking say something? You can't undo that now. You just programmed to him, signaled to him that that's acceptable to do to my son. What's the biggest mistake? When you program to someone that this is an acceptable way to treat somebody by tacitly allowing it, you're emboldening them even more to do even more transgressive behavior later because they just got comfortable with it because you didn't sting them. You didn't give them the electric shock back when they did the bad thing. That's why morality is you rebuking people very, very firmly. Always, virtually. Except when grace is warranted. It was not here. I never got an apology from this man, ever, in the years since, about that. Because at least if you fuck up like that, dude, there wasn't even alcohol involved. You would think you need to be fucking stupidly drunk to be an idiot enough to fucking do something like this, where days later, your sober ass would come around with remorse, your head hung low. Oh man, I'm sorry, what the fuck was I even saying? You're my girlfriend's kid. I shouldn't be talking to you like that. It's not right. You see that? That's honor. That's morality. That's good. That's what respectable between a men. Days went by. I never got any apology from her or from him. Does any of this make sense? How dare I ask my family to join me in prayer? This is the cuckoo that I have never broken out of since. And I only wish I had the life, finances, and capability, because I'm dying to fucking get away from fucking evil. Since 2017, I've been saddled with fucking evil and perma-glued to it, and no one's helped me with any of this shit. I asked my mom, why the hell did he come up and say I'm gay? I never heard that in my life. I'm looking at her extra careful. I'm like, what the hell even, you know, I don't fuck dudes, so that part doesn't make sense. I mean, besides that, what the hell is that? He said, the reason he said that you are gay is because he saw that you have the same haircut that the people have that were walking around in the village, in Manhattan Village, West Village, when he's driving his car there. So he knows that people are gay who live there, they have these haircuts, and then you also have a similar haircut, so he thought you're gay. Oh. What? Dude, when you're at the mercy of stupid people, there's not... Don't be scared of smart people, bro. That's something another lawyer of mine once told me too. Very, very smart and clever. Good old, I won't mention his name, but you know what I'm talking about, I think. He said, listen, it's not smart that you got to be worried about, all right? Smart's not the thing that hurts you people in life. Stupid is the thing that hurts people in life. People won't screw you because they're smarter than you and they outperformed you such as to successfully screw you. The stupid people screw you. You can't outsmart stupid. The smartest words I ever heard in my life. I'm owed a fucking apology for all of that shit. Not just what he did, what she did, but the fact that neither of them apologized for that. Neither of them. As if to show that, see, that's acceptable. That's acceptable to treat you. It doesn't matter that you did nothing wrong and I just simply didn't want to go down that day, so because I didn't want to go down and you tried to, you know, insist that I should be making any other consideration or change my mind, such an attack against her autonomy, which hardly was not, trying to morally compel her to things she knew she ought to do. But other than that, I wasn't running up there and fucking screaming at her face. The fucking hell. Right? As if autonomy is the highest thing that should be worshipped here. Oh, funny, look at that. Autonomy, right? Years later. What? My son screaming at me over the phone and banging on something and becoming angry in his apartment. Let's go violate his autonomy. Open up the door, let police in even though he doesn't want to. It's not about autonomy, it's about reptilian brains only love me and power and me. It's all they get. They don't love it all flowing correctly in the grander order. They don't understand what grander order is. Years later, sitting down, talking about all the stuff, morality, God, the rules, how to live life, God, it all translates to the same thing substantively. Sitting there talking to my mom, years later, she'll say to me, but I don't understand. Why are you talking about God so much? Are you fucking stupid? It's because you're breaking that one's rules. So I'm referring to the set of rules you're breaking. Those are called God's rules. So I cite God things to remind you what the rules are, how to live, how to treat people in life. There's something wrong here. Nothing connects with these kinds of minds. He's gay because he has haircut from West Village. That's why I should go and just yell at him, say gay. Because my girlfriend says she doesn't want to go down. Doesn't matter why. Like, it's all blindness on top of another layer of blindness. Why am I stuck with morally blind people? Help me. I'll continue on to another story. So already here, the old policy from a couple years back where I wouldn't be talking to him, yeah, that's the new policy again. Arm's length now became, you know, long arm's length, and I'm not being friendly to him anymore so much. Bullshit. But this obviously wore the relationship between my mom and I. Moreover, what's the additional insult, Anthony? Do you think this was a one-time skip of a day of prayer and that she came down the next day to continue prayer? No. Prayers were stopped. She completely stopped coming. Now, if you're going to be sorry to your Lord and God about missing a day, but you're going to show by meriting forgiveness by coming back to adhere to the thing that you promised to stay adhered to, that's understandable. Yeah, all right. Grace could be merited, maybe. No. She never came back again to do consistent prayers after that. As if that's the correct justified course of action. So obviously the universe will turn against her and destroy the quality of life she has and the quality of the relationship that she gets to enjoy with her son. No mistakes here. The universe slash God slash life slash fate give you exactly the thing that you sow is what you reap. There you go. It's perfect. So, very funny too, because Anthony, I'll tell you something real, and I'm even appreciating the truth of this now. This could be actually the most profound thing that I've discussed. Dude, this happened sometime around, this was around late fall time frame of 2017. This was October or November, I believe, somewhere around there. Yeah. Now my mom wasn't coming around to pray with me every night. Because I'm angry now at my mom, rightly, of course. And moreover, she's not coming around to pray with me and make up and any of that. Now what happens? Well, you know, I don't have kinship here at home. And my evenings aren't being filled with something good and pure. So now, because there's nothing filling it that's good to seal up that thing, everything creates a vacuum. And what does a vacuum become filled with? Now I'm going out. Now I'm going out partying again. And what ends up happening? Later that month, LSD poisoning. The following month, a couple weeks later, cocaine poisoning. None of those things would have fucking happened if my mom kept her vow to God. Do you see how this matrix works? How this matrix really does work? She got exactly what the punishment would be. You don't honor your son? Well, then here's some more damage to your lives. How about now? So everything comes around full circle. Very, very perfectly so. Fucking living with fucking, you know, mildish or higher HPPD ever since, and the cocaine that fucking has torn my intestines and changed my whole life and ripped my throat, and now my brain's leaking out of the hole. All of it because you didn't hold your vow to God. And when you break it in such a disregardful way, as if you think you could take from God's dignity for free, just not do it. Whatever you want, whatever I feel, whatever I want, that cut off, and curses come your way by cursing your children, cursing you, your quality of relationships with people, the blessings you generally have. That's all fucking ruined, cut off. Fuck. It's not a fucking joke. Fast forward to about let me think, because there's a few instances of different things happening, so I'm trying to remember exactly what order and how to cover it all. All right. Obviously, there's a permanent strain now going on between my mom and I. The following year, just a quick story involving my dad. I'm out in the city. I get a phone call from Pop. I miss him a lot. I get a phone call from him. John, what's going on? But he doesn't sound the same, not like normal. He usually calls me when he's clear. I relatively rarely would ever hear him like kind of half drunk or more. He called me, he was kind of slurring his words and yelling and all that. You know, like it pop stuff, I guess. But he's on the phone, he's just like, hey, listen. All right, John, hey, come over. Where are you right now? All right, get over here. Come here now. Come here. All right. I love my dad. Anytime I had free time, and if he were to say, okay, come here, I'd be, hell yeah, okay, I love to go there, you know? Happened to be that I had plans with a whole group of friends in another state that same evening, and I was heading out to cross go out the state to New Jersey, to be in the middle of Jersey to be with my friends. On my way, I was in the city to go get on the rail to head out there. I say, Dad, I'm sorry, I gotta go. I'm heading to Jersey soon. To Jersey, I have to go see my friends tonight. Maybe I'll see you sometime soon. Maybe I'll come tomorrow or whenever. He's like, no, John, I want to see you right now. Not that he said that there's something serious like an emergency. And I kind of felt and vetted for that. There was no indication of an emergency given at any point. But it's just like I want to see you now. Come here now so we can hang out now. I was like, this was kind of weird, because he wouldn't usually get so insistent unreasonably in one way about a thing, but maybe he was drunk, so I don't know. But I was like, again, I'm sorry, Dad, I have my friends, I have to go with my friends, you know, my friends. Okay. And I'm expecting him to be like, all right, I'll see you soon. And not always he's cool. He's like that. He's like, all right, I'll see you soon. Let's do this or that that day. Now instead he goes, I said, come here now. Come here now. It's not his fault. Not a problem with his character. He had mental illness and he was drinking. So it's a combination of both. So we all do crazy things when we're, you know, very drunk. So this was crazy to me, actually. I didn't understand it at all. It was completely unprecedented in my whole life. I never experienced my father like, you know, that's kind of, you don't even know what to do or say. You're like, what the fuck is happening now? I don't even understand. And I'm like, dude, I really have to go. I told you I can't. I don't understand why you don't understand. I don't want to be a dick, but I'm like, what is going on? And then he starts yelling more. Get out here. I'm your father. Get here now. You know, you're my father also, but like, I'm not 10. I'm an adult. I have things to do. So I'm like, look, I have to go, man. I have to go. I started yelling a little louder to almost match what he was yelling. I was like, dude, like, I can't. I gotta go, man. I'm sorry. I already told you that. Plans from before. I'll see you soon. I can't do this now. All right? That's it. I don't know why, you know, you give me a hard is it an emergency? No, I don't understand that. I can't dick my friends around for no reason. You know, that's it. Like, let me go. Bye. Hung up the phone. I'm so fucking upset already just from that. I'm like, this is some fucking weird shit. This is like, it got to me, man. I'm still hanging around in Midtown briefly. I'm like really upset. I'm not in the mood now to even hang out with my friends. So whatever the hell happened, I remember I texted them or called them. They're like, yeah, I'm not heading into Jersey tonight. I'm not. Something did come up. It is kind of like I don't want to say an emergency, but like this is weird. I need a fucking evening to myself now. How's going on in this world? It's a lot to process. So that's it. Instead of going to Jersey, I decided to come straight home. So I go back to my own place. Once I get home, I invite my mom to come down, or she tried coming, I don't remember how, but she just showed up. So now she's in my place. We're in the living room, we're talking, and all of a sudden we get more knocks on the door. Go to the door, open it. There's a bunch of police officers standing outside. Okay, that's weird. I'm like, hey, what do you guys want? I think I actually just came out of the shower. I had my hair wet. I remember this, I had my hair wet. You know, my mom was just sitting in the living room. Now the door's open. Apartment, right? And I'm like, and this is like a few weeks after the LSD thing happened. So, you know, my eyes are super like, they're like chronically for like 3 years, 4 years afterwards, my pupils stayed super wide because it was like always on. So the police come in to me, but besides the pupils, I actually seemed like really good and chill, and they liked me. They're like, hey, we're here to like, I don't know, something's going on. I said, nothing's going on. You're Jonathan? I'm like, yeah. Your father said that there was some problem. He called the cops on us. He called us to come here to check on you. He said you're not okay. I'm like, that's not accurate at all. And they said, yeah. Well, that's our guess too. Blurring on the phone when he's talking to us and he sounds fucked up. And I'm like, yeah, he is. And I didn't do nothing wrong. I talked to him about, I talked to him about 75 minutes ago or 90 minutes ago about, he asked me, I told him I couldn't, I wasn't available, and that's that. And I just said to him, like, we had like a but nothing went wrong or nothing is that. And they're like, yeah, okay, well, if that's it, then there's no problem here. But then we don't understand why this caller called, but we hear he's slurring in the voice, so that's also real weird too. And I'm like, yeah, he's on psychiatric disability and something went wrong today. That's all I could tell you guys. I'm sorry that you have to go through this. One of them, literally standing there in the apartment, goes, man, I hate calls like this. Now, Anthony, this is already weird enough. But I'll tell you, you think that's as weird as it's going to get for that night? No, it's not. All of a sudden, my mom, who's standing there, who's watching all of this happen, let's compare reasonable woman versus snake instinct woman and see what their instincts would be and what the natural manifestation of their conduct would be. Normal woman would see, because she's learning about this too, she has no idea what the hell's going on or why. All right, she's hearing it all from me and them all live as it's unfurling, without having had any idea really of what the hell's happened prior. I don't even think I mentioned to her about what happened with Dad. It was so bizarre. I don't know what to do with that, you know. So if you're normal and that's happening in front of you, my son and the cops, I'm his mother here in his house, I happen to witness this. It's not my business, but that's crazy. But it's unmerited, it looks like. Oh, so those police should leave him alone. So obviously my son's kind of being, I don't know, victimized here, or just he's not in the wrong, and then so therefore there shouldn't be an action against him, so therefore I should come and support my son because there's not an action against him, and that's me being a good mom ethically, and the instinct is going to chase and fend off cops, get away from my son. He said there's nothing wrong. Get out of our apartment. That's a beautiful, loving mother. That's a 10. That's the highest places of heaven are for that woman, not for my mom. My mom's all reverse, you see. Do you know what my mom did? She looked at me, looked at them, and you could see the mechanisms turning now behind her eyes in her head. She's like starting to plot things. You know, that's weird. And sure enough, just a couple moments later, as the police were turning to leave now, she says, oh no, no, oh no, no, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? She starts talking to the police. Listen, like someone stumbled into an opportunity of a lifetime, like they won the lotto, but their ticket's about to run out the door. That's what this was like, watching how this went down. It was one of the weirdest experiences of my fucking life. So, you, Anthony, just imagine being in this situation, or tell me on the phone when we talk about all this afterwards, whether anything like this could ever happen to you by the people around you doing this. Obviously, it would not be. And furthermore, the reason for that isn't because there's a fundamental difference about your behavior versus my behavior or our inherent worth as people. The difference would be necessarily your family is much more normal, and normal people wouldn't do that, but not normal people like the ones around me would, as they continue to gaslight and make it all crazy. So what's really going on here? She says, listen, wait, but you wanted to take him for like to evaluate him? Oh, listen, hey, don't go. Take him. Take my son. I fucking turn around and look at her like, What the fuck? Are you cursed by fucking 7 devils? Was the deepest fucking sin imaginable? The deepest layer of Dante's Inferno, as we know. Betrayal. The exact reason any human being is allowed to come sit with me in my apartment whenever they like is because the presumptive default representation and tacit understanding that's being made is obviously what? You're letting me be friends with you. You're letting me be around you, even if I'm a relative, that we're not completely on bad terms. Hell, Anthony, the crazy shit that just happened between me and her and with her boyfriend was just probably weeks before this. If I knew morality then the way I know now, immediately I would have cut them off, and that would have been better. Remember, every sin you don't rebuke, you take the responsibility for. So, no, my fault was that I let her continue to fucking be free to interact with me and just be fine in my life. Who taught me that? She did. Ah, so here's the interesting scam, Anthony. Normal people teach you how to make accountability, but I told you already, my mom didn't teach me anything growing up. Very unusual for a mother. All mothers spend all day, every day, chronically teaching their sons complex lessons about life as they grow. Not this one. Very unusual. But I thought mine was normal until I found out that all other mothers do these completely different things, and then you realize, oh, they're all normal. Oh, mine's not. Oh. No. Instead of doing any of that, I'm losing my pacing and my thoughts a little bit. All right. She would frame for me this pseudo-Christian principle, which is bullshit, really. It's not a real principle. If you know the Bible, you actually see what it says. It's not correct. But her idea was the kind of idea that a narcissist would love to champion in a household where you're actually a narcissist and love control. It's called, hey, when anyone does anything wrong, just always take it and close your eyes and pretend it did not happen and just make nice, make peace. Yeah, forgive always automatically. You know, in other words, let anyone do anything and always accept it. That's not quite correct. You know, no rebuke, no discussion. Just being good Christian, Jesus, just put your head down and just say, that's fine. No, that's training people how to accept abuse without question. So you see how conveniently being a narcissist and then showing that that's how to respond to life? Well, that's very convenient for that person, but not for the people who are getting abused. So, fast forward, I'm there. Is she a moral person? No. What does she want to do? Take him to the psychiatrist. Take him now. Of course, completely unlawful, no basis. Obviously, I know all the elements. It's crazy. I'm smarter than not just lawyers, but judges by now. Wild stuff. They're looking at her like, huh? What? We don't understand. And they're like, we don't have a lawful basis to do anything. We have to go, actually. We can't even be in this apartment legally anymore. What, are you not American? You don't know how this works? You're God Kings, citizens. Don't forget your power. We're not allowed to be here to police you if there's no cause. We have to remove ourselves. She's like, no, listen, while you're here, listen, no. He's not okay. I'm like, yeah, I am. No, he's not, because there are arguments. So he's bipolar. Now, what did I tell you once before, Anthony? My mom accused me of being bipolar. Why? Because in her mind, bipolar is, and you're gonna laugh when you hear this, but this is crazy. It's the pure symptomatic observation of this, right? Removed from all context. One moment my son is nice, Then we're talking, doesn't matter what was said, could be anything. And then, for some reason, all of a sudden, my son's very angry and yelling. Oh, so because one moment he's fine, but now he's yelling for some reason, doesn't matter why, that is bipolar. Because if you're nice 1 minute, then you're yelling like really mad the next, has to be bipolar, because you're nice, then you're mad, so that's bipolar. No. When I'm being normal / nice because everything's fine, then you, Barbara, stupid woman, say something mind-blowingly stupid and insulting to me. I don't just decide to sit there and take it, but by the dignity of any man who's living would naturally react with apprehension, offense, and then upon you failing to withdraw the initial offense, my offense taken from you that you just gave to me escalates to involuntary reaction of angry yelling expression because you're victimizing me with abuse. That's called abuse. Why would I abuse that? Why would I abuse my friends, my family for no reason? Do I come out of nowhere and just fucking like, hey, like, you know, and I'll shit on you, and then if you get angry I'll call you bipolar? No, it's not bipolar because you did the same reaction anyone else would do to something as heinous as this. But there she was. Oh, I don't know. All I know is that he was in psych ward last year. He took Phenibut. Then he was in the psych ward because they want to evaluate him. And the doctor told me, he said he has bipolar or schizophrenia. Immediately, I corrected my mom. I said, hold on a second. You were told of a differential diagnosis before the doctor proceeded to make other rulings that were at that time covered neither of them, and the medical record was clear at that portion regarding those two specific things you just said. I was like, the doctor is not even ethical to share with you the differential diagnosis. Those are called candidate diagnosis before we fully confirmed it's true. And then obviously that day we walked out of that ward. She saw all the diagnoses that were on the paper, but not on that list was it ever included or suggested either one of those two. Not at that time. And then the history gets more interesting as things move along, and all that requires the more stories, more story time to get all the facts. All right, but mind you, she's falsely stating things to police again. Now this is late 2017. You may recall a story from March 2017, earlier that year. Again, more disregarding. I came home drunk from St. Patty's, simply said, damn it, I lost my wallet. And I you know, pumped my fist against the you know, concrete marbleized, you know, hallway stone walls in the building to just gesture out like, yeah, you know, I'm mad. Boom, damn wallet's lost. All right, yeah, open the key, open the door for me, please. All right, thank you. Good. Oh, I'm pissed. Lost my wallet though. Damn, boom. You know, I'm in my house. I'm like, meh. You know, I like push over like an object or something, but not in a dangerous way so as to damage anything. I was just being like, nah, I lost my stuff. I'm mad. Not a harm to anybody. I told you this story already multiple times. She just calmly leaves. She doesn't say like, John, please calm down. Oh, you're worrying me. You know, I don't want to have to call the police or come. What's the responsible, respectful thing to do? You come to me and say, look, you know, don't worry me, John. If you continue worrying me, I don't know what to do. Should I call an ambulance? You know, then I would say, no, why on earth would you do that? That doesn't even make sense. I'm just a little drunk. It'll wear off soon. It's late. I know I'll go to sleep soon. You know, oh, okay. Oh, all right. Well, be safe. Okay. Love you. Bye. No. None of that happens. It's just let me sneak away and then get the jump on them with a raid. It's all about raiding me with cops. It's about programming her son to accept being a pawn in a deeper game where someone else is your controlling hand and I'll always overwhelm you. Sicko. Piece of shit. Fucking disgusting. Who the fuck does that? Who the fuck walks away, sneaks away to get a sneak jump? Obviously, ethically, you're bound to fucking say something that lets you get to not have to fucking do that, you stupid fucking woman. The fuck? It's like you love to do it. You purposely jump. You want the opportunity to fucking get to do it, you piece of shit. The fuck? That's the sickest thing of all. You should hate doing it, which would be the thing that deters you. Any loving mother would, stupid. Fuck, what the hell? Idiots! That's the sickness! It's the substantive twist of the spirit inside you that prompts the very will in the first place towards any given direction or inclination, this way or that way. Is the fucking insult. The substantive sin is that. And then the form, the sin of form comes in the various ways it does. That's the substantive root behind it that wears the various masks. So you would think that if someone fucked up that many times with me in transgressing my dignity in a not morally correct manner, that if they were good people, that would only mean that they feel more guilt, therefore they would be atoning better, therefore they would feel more guilty, and therefore be less inclined to make the same mistake again. No, only cluster B type personalities, aka the swine before which you're not allowed to throw your pearls, you're not allowed to treat them special. Everybody else you give grace to. Don't give grace to swine. It's a law from Christ. Okay? As they put it in the Bible there. No. The snake operates again. Sees police. Doesn't matter that my son is an American citizen with rights. The only right you have is right this way. Because Mom God commands it. Fucking psychotic fucking piece of shit. But it never works that way, so the delusions only continue. But man, can't she just continue dreaming it? Please, please, follow me, she would think. Follow my fucking sick way. My idea of what's right and wrong. Which is based on both the twisted moral and, Anthony, the twisted understanding of facts themselves. The most dangerous, there's only two things in this life, the facts and the law or standard that applies to what conduct should look like when you have a given set of facts in a circumstance. Anthony, when she has both a twisting of the moral and a twisting of a comprehension of what proper facts are in any given circumstance, you have the multiplied magnitude of the compounded squared fucking potentiation of problems. That is the worst combination ever. And the worst part is that people who have this misalignment can't see that they have this misalignment. 99% of the time when you confront them with this, they'll just say, no, I was not wrong. I understand everything perfectly. It's like stupid doesn't realize how stupid it is because of how stupid it is. I see it everywhere. It's the sickest thing about human reality. And what a large proportion too of people, sadly, are kind of like this. But she's actually one of the worst cases I've ever seen. But if you asked her, it's one of the... No, absolutely not true. It will never self-recognize. That's the real mental illness looks like. You can't see it for what it is. Because you're it. You get it? You'll never self-referencingly be able to distinguish it. Sick. Really, I almost feel sorry for it. So, police are like, we can't just take him because you want us to. What the fuck is that? They were pissed at her, actually. And then she says this. She says, no, listen. He's sick, he's bipolar, and he has something wrong. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? She's like, he wants to go, he has some idea, he wants to go to Mexico to get some hemoperfusion treatment. What is that? Get him in hospital. As soon as I fucking heard that, I was like, holy shit. Two things happened there immediately. Number one, my level of trust for that person, that's it, went down to virtually zero. Number one. Just because you're the moral transgression. Number two, her understanding of the facts is disgusting. Because if you're a woman who thinks that when your son's nervous system gets to the point where he's breathing 3 breaths a minute, where it's clear that when he drinks, he smells of beer for 6 days instead of for 1 hour, where that obviously hints at a liver problem, where if there's a liver problem because of slow metabolization, because of how stunted the nervous system became from the initial poisoning, which caused the same nervous system that caused me to breathe 3 breaths a minute, but everyone sees that part. So that's not a fucking wonder question anymore. That's a big fucking I don't know. Obviously you see it's a modulated nervous system. Obviously you see I don't bruise and have pain or any of this other stuff. So that's a serious nervous system modulation. If we accept that as true and we understand that the nervous system and its metabolic rate is what runs the rate of breakdown of compounds in your body, then obviously she knows with her own nose that she smelled me being drunk for 6 days when I had 1 beer 6 days ago. And she was like, why the hell are you still? I said, I took LSD. Now my eyes are fucking pupil wide for 3 years. That's not a mistake. When I took Molly, half a pill, I was rolling for 2 weeks instead of for 2 hours. So obviously, that's because the thing is still staying in your system. Therefore, the liver's not working as good. Therefore, it's drug saturation that's prolonged. And a very mild version of that happens to all adults when they become old, men and women. All doctors know that their metabolic rate for their liver, it's not liver damage, but it's like the nervous system, because it slows, it causes the drugs in that person's body to last twice as long. So all like old folks' homes have to, if they give a pill every day to a normal person, they have to give it half dose every day or 1 pill every other day. Otherwise, they'd poison that patient. Because they're not breaking down the stuff in their blood as quickly as everybody else does who's normal. Okay? And if I'm an extreme version of that, because my nervous system was brought down so fucking low that I'm breathing 3 breaths a minute when I'm resting, which is never before seen in medical history, therefore, it's not a guess and a completely unsupported delusion that something is wrong with your son's health, Barbara. So when I say that, obviously, with superior fucking way, superior intellect, I'm already fielding for, well, how's it possible to clear a system of excess solutes and drugs? Wow, there's something called hemoperfusion. Oh, wow, clinics across in other countries internationally offer that service to people who come from the United States, because in the US it's banned, but in Europe and Mexico and Germany and fucking all the other countries, they do it because they know it works to cure people from fucking prolonged exposure to toxins and drug poisoning. Obviously, I'm telling my mom this is an amazing opportunity and we should be calling clinics, because I know people have gotten treatments in other countries because they picked up, packed their bags, and went across the border to get shit done in places like Mexico or other places, because that's obviously what you do when you give a shit about your health. I said, do we give a shit about me? Do we give a shit about this person's health? So we should be doing the same thing that other people are doing when those families get together and send themselves off to Mexico. But now we see, oh my God, it's not just that she was wrong about John having a delusion. Actually, that's so far off the mark. It's as if Barbara actually has real schizophrenia or delusionary disorder. Because your brain cells